Hi class. One of our book of the days this year was I Am Amelia Earhart. And remember, it is a biography, so it tells you a real story of someone's life. And in the top corner, the series is titled Ordinary People Change the World. And the author always gives us a little bit of clue on where they left that impact in the world. And so the clue with Amelia was the plane. So let's see if we can see that same pattern with I Am Billie Jean King. And I see some clues on the cover that kind of help me understand where she left an impact in the world. And then we see that kind of same pattern or format and how the author showed that to us. I am Billie Jean King. One champion equality. And so throughout the story, we probably will hear a lot of connections between the characters, because I do notice that they're two female or girl characters and the impacts that they left in the world for all of us even today, boys and girls. Lessons we can learn from each of them. I am Billie Jean King. So I noticed on the front and back that she had a tennis racket. Now we see a tennis court. So definitely clues that her leadership in the world helped others learn also in sports. Fair play. It's such a simple idea. In sports and in life, it means you respect the rules and treat everyone equally. But sometimes people don't want to play fair. And other times, they don't even want to let you play. But that never stopped me. When I was little, people called me a tomboy, which is a word I still don't like. Girls can enjoy sports just as much as boys. And so I'll read you the conversations that are happening here and see if you can hear the connection in here, something that happened with Amelia. I loved all sports, football, basketball, baseball. I was small and quick. Get her! You get her! She's too fast! And then you have adults, probably her parents back here saying, that's not very ladylike. Maybe she should take up sewing. I don't think she's meant for sewing. You show 'em what's what, Billie Jean. And it reminds me with Amelia, because she was told she couldn't fly a plane or even consider learning to fly because she was a girl. She was told no, and she liked doing other things that might have been a little bit more rough, and, busy play. And she was always encouraged to try to do other things that were more girl and ladylike. So we have a connection between the characters on that. Today, many dads encourage their daughters to play sports. But back when I was growing up, my dad was one of the first. Most important, he played equally with both me and my brother. Equal time, equal respect. Never underestimate your opponent. You understand? Got it. Never underestimate your opponent. Check. Our dad was a really good athlete. In college, he used to play against Jackie Robinson. And so I saw a pattern of dad, and I'm learning about his traits and personalities right away. Right over here, Mom was kind of the one saying, that's not very ladylike. Maybe she should sew. And Dad's like, no, go get him, girl. So he knows and sees something in her that doesn't have to be just girl-like. Her passion and her love and her talents. So I'm here. I was so good at baseball. My dream was to be a professional player. But when I went to my first real baseball game, I noticed something. It didn't seem fair. I'd have to find another sport. What's wrong, Billie Jean? There are no girls on the team. Only boys. And so I guess I should start pictures again so you can see those. Fortunately, in 5th grade, a friend asked me a question that changed my life. Do you want to play tennis? What's tennis? A game where you run, jump, and hit a ball. Those are 3 of my favorite things. Sure, I'll try it. My first time on the court, I had no idea what I was doing. But then, tennis was a game played mostly by wealthy people at fancy country clubs. That wasn't my family. My mother sewed my white shorts. My racket was borrowed. Did I miss a few shots? Sure, no one is instantly an expert. Being a great player takes hard work. I love that words of wisdom. Kind of everything in life that's hard takes hard work, doesn't it? Even being at home right now, away from school, and parents off work, makes things really hard, doesn't it? It's definitely going to take hard work from all of us to work together in these months, huh? A few weeks later, I heard about a coach named Clyde Walker who gave free coaching on the public courts. Often, the right teacher can change your life. Anyone know the first lesson? Hit it hard. Swing through? Nope. Close the gate. Close the gate? So the balls don't roll away. Love that. Coach Clyde taught me how to hold the racket, and he made tennis fun. That first afternoon, I was hooked. I had found the sport I loved. When my mom came to pick me up, I told her, I know what I want to do with my life. I'm going to be the #1 tennis player in the world. That's fine, dear. And here's another text-to-text character connection. Her excitement, her love, her passion, as well as her talent. She wasn't perfect at it right away, but she was willing to be taught. She was willing to be coached. Man, does that remind you of Amelia? She didn't know how to fly. She even admitted to not being one of the best pilots. But she ended up breaking lots of records and became a great pilot with hard work. She believed in herself. She didn't let other people influence her decisions. These two girls, these two ladies sound very similar in their paths and their decisions in life. I'm starting to understand why Brad Meltzer would choose these two people to teach us about and how they changed the world. Now, I just needed the right equipment. To save money for a tennis racket, I did odd jobs around the neighborhood, like taking out people's trash and weeding their gardens. Eventually, I saved $8.29 in a mason jar. That's almost $75 today. Enough for a racket in my favorite color, purple. As a city employee, Coach Clyde traveled to a different park every day. My mom drove me for hours to get his free coaching all across Long Beach, California. Wait, you're that girl from yesterday at the other park. That's me. The only way to get good is to play every day. So, what are we working on today? Mom didn't drive me because she thought I'd be rich. Back then, playing tennis didn't pay much money, especially if you were a woman. She drove me so I could do what I loved. And I love seeing how Mom changed. Remember at the beginning, Mom was one of those people who was still a little convinced that since she's a girl, maybe she should do something more ladylike. But you can tell she's a very loving, compassionate mom and supporting Billie Jean in her love and her passion. Probably took a lot of time and sacrifice to drive her everywhere to do that. Not everybody cheered me on. At one tournament, they wouldn't let me be in the group photo. Curious about that. My first thought was, maybe it's because she's a girl, but I see a girl right here. Maybe. Boys can have long hair too. So either these are all boys. Let's read and see. They said I needed to wear a dress instead of shorts. They said that boys wear shorts and girls wear dresses. Everybody say winners. Winners. When I look up close, I notice in this picture, there's actually 3 girls and 2 boys. You can see the 3 girls with their dresses on and the 2 boys with their shorts. And then you have Billie Jean, who wants to wear her shorts. I am totally with her. Growing up, I would have been the exact same way. But that's disappointing she can't be in the picture. Remember, this all takes place in the past, too. By the time I was 12 years old, at the fancy LA tennis club, I noticed something else. Everyone wore white, and everyone was white. What's wrong, Billie Jean? Where's everybody else? I wanted things to change. Tennis shouldn't be a sport only for rich, white people. It should be a sport everyone can enjoy. And you can tell right here she has some thoughts in her head. I need to change tennis and make it more equal. If I become the #1 player in the world, people will listen. So I'll take you back. Oops. It's a little hard holding the pages. You can see them. Every day I worked with Coach Clyde. I also worked at home. My brother would practice pitching baseballs, and I'd make sure my tennis serves didn't knock over any lamps. You see that shot? You see that pitch? Their parents really let them practice indoors? Had to be awesome to have a sibling to have a lot in common with, too. My sister and I were very different. At 15, I had to write an essay about my future. I predict that I will make it to the Wimbledon. And if you don't know what the Wimbledon is, it's one of the biggest tennis tournaments in the world. By age 18, where I will lose to the #1 female player. What's Wimbledon? It's a tournament. It's in London. It's the biggest tennis tournament in the world. At 16, I started being coached by Alice Marble, a former #1 tennis player who won 18 Grand Slam championships, which are the biggest events of all. There you go, Billie Jean. Swing all the way through. She convinced me I could win and made me realize how many strong women in sports had come before me. I was part of something bigger than just myself. Soon, a new thing also started happening. Billie Jean wins. Billie Jean wins. With Coach Alice, I went from number 19 in the country to number 4 in the country. And that's her coach. I love that she has goals. I think that's another consistent connection that I hear between Amelia and Billie Jean all the way from the beginning, from when we first meet Amelia as a young child, all the way through her adulthood. She always had a new goal. She met a goal, she set another goal. By age 17, I made it all the way to the Wimbledon. We won the women's doubles title, which is when you play tennis with a partner, We were the youngest team to ever do it. Billie Jean and Karen Hanse win. We couldn't afford to go to the big Wimbledon celebration ball, but we enjoyed the victory. As I started college, I was ranked number 3 in the country, but my school still didn't give me a scholarship. Sorry, there are no scholarships for girls. Wait a minute. I'm one of the lowest ranked people on the tennis team, and I have a full scholarship. And look who's saying that. A boy. She's the best player on campus and one of the best in the world, and she gets nothing? That's not fair. This is Larry. He's always wanted men and women to be treated equally. I married him a few years later. That makes sense. We definitely like to be connected around people where we have similar belief systems. Over the years, even as my career moved forward, people still treated or didn't treat women equally. When a man won a tournament, he'd get a big check. When a woman won the same tournament, she was paid much less. That's not fair. When a man won, the reporters would ask him questions about the match. When a woman won, they'd ask, "Are you planning to have children soon, Billie Jean?" That's not just unfair, it's insulting. Are those new glasses, Billie Jean? Did you change your hair, Billie Jean? Why don't they ask her about how hard it is to play with asthma and bronchitis, which she has? People would tell me that's just how the world worked. Women were paid less than men. They were treated worse than men. I knew I had to change it. And as I'm reading this, I'm thinking about how many women in sports and in careers in the world today are continuing for us and for you, all the girls in my class who are fighting for us to continue to have equality compared to the boys. And remember that, boys. And remember, Larry, that we can always fight for that equality, that equalness. Soon, I achieved one of the greatest victories of my career. Congratulations, Billie Jean. You won the big one, the singles title at Wimbledon. One of the biggest accomplishments any single tennis player can win. After winning Wimbledon a second time in singles, doubles, and mixed doubles, which is when men and women play together, thought things would get better for women, but they didn't. In 1968, the man who won Wimbledon got $4,800. I won for a third straight year and got $3,000 less. Holy smokes. And it wasn't just me. Women were paid less than men in almost every job. And in our hearts, we're probably all thinking about how that would feel, even if you are a boy. There were so many greats who came before me. Suzanne Lenglen, Maureen Conley, Aletha Gibson, Alice Marble, her coach, and Helen Willis Moody. Each of them taught me something. It's like they were there with me on one team. I was the number 1 player in the world, but I was being paid so little. I couldn't even get a credit card. It was time to take action. That's how it is, lady. Fans buy tickets to see men, not women. When tournaments didn't offer equal pay, started protesting. I won't be playing in the Pacific Southwest Open. Instead, 8 other female tennis players and I will be playing on our own women's tour. But if you do that, people won't come to our tournament. Then maybe you should pay women equally. They called us the Original 9. Thanks to our women's tour, tournament organizers quickly realized fans would pay just as much to see us play. It took some courage. And I love how it connects to so many stories we've read where the protest didn't take any violence or hurting other people. Soon after, I was the first woman ever named Sports Illustrated Sportsperson of the Year. But with every step forward, there was always someone who wanted to move things back. A girl tennis player? I bet I could beat her. So that's about an article she's reading. Somebody offering that opinion. His name was Bobby Riggs. At one point in time, he was the #1 tennis player in the world. Now, he was 55 years old and a loud-mouthed bully. Bobby Riggs insisted women weren't as strong as men. To prove it, he challenged me to a match. When I refused, he challenged Marquette Court, who had recently become the #1 female player in the world. I'm going to play in Billie Jean. They're paying me $10,000. What? First, that's not enough. Second, you need to win this match, Margaret. Everyone will be watching. They'll want to see if we're as strong as men. It's the match of the century. Man versus woman. Get ready to see women lose. They played on Mother's Day. You had to win 2 out of 3 sets. Bobby beat Margaret easily. Bobby Riggs wins both sets 6-2 and 6-1. I told you men were stronger. Men are better. Ha ha! Now I want to play Billie Jean. I'll play her on clay, grass, wood, cement, marble, or roller skates. And definitely that trait right there, that we're talking about arrogant. Arrogant is when you boast and brag in a way to bring somebody else down. And I'm going to pause here because the video's kind of long because the book is longer, and I'll do a part 2 to Billie Jean. Stay tuned.